Hey everyone, this is Ballers here. Just wanted to do a stream with regards to everything, all the noise which is going around surrounding Romelu Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel, because obviously yesterday we heard the news from the Lukaku side, and today we had the press conference from Thomas Tuchel. I just want to give my thoughts and opinions on the whole situation. And for me, I just think there's a lot of overreaction by our fan base. Uh, I feel that, okay, the comments made by Lukaku were probably ill advised um, in the way it came out, but I don't think he did anything sort of on towards, and that's the thing with our fan base. It's just that overreaction from everything, and um, I feel it depends how you look at the article because or the transcript. I view the transcript a bit differently from the way that others are viewing it. I didn't think it was a knock at Thomas Tuchel when he said that he wasn't happy. The way I read it was that he wasn't happy with his contribution so far, and the fact that he's getting used to a new system. So that's what I kind of gleaned from it. That um, he was brought into play in a particular way, but at the moment he hasn't. Sorry guys, I just need to take a call. So let me just pause this for a minute while I take the call. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm back now. Just had to take a phone call. Yeah, welcome Terry Louise to the show. Tuchel said ignore the headlines. Exactly. So that's what Tuchel has said because that's the thing. What people tend to do, they tend to just look at the headlines, and from that they make assumptions. They don't look at the full thing in its entirety, and for me the media have won. Hey George, how you doing, mate? Yeah, yeah. For me, the media have won because that's what the media wanted. The media. Why did they wait until what people always wait, especially the media? They always wait until a team are going through a bad run of form to start bringing out this news. It's about kick them when they're down, sort of thing. And so this was done 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, this was done, but what happens? It's released at a time where Chelsea are 8 points behind Manchester City. The pressure is on. We've got a big, massive game against Liverpool. So, when's the best time to release something like this? It's now, you know. So, yeah, I hear Couch what you say. The media are doing their job. Yeah, they are doing their job. But when we react as a fan base in a negative way, um, it's when we, as I said, when we react as a fan base in a negative way, then what we are doing, for me, we're no better than what Lukaku was doing, because as us as a fan base, when we're overreacting, saying, "Oh, I wanted this guy out of our club and he's unprofessional and this and that," then we are playing into the media's hands by doing that. I think that's what we're doing. We're actually playing into the media's hands, and we are giving the media what they want. Um, so, I said before, should he have given what Thomas Tuchel said is kind of right because he's a big name player for us. Then any sort of time he's going to give an interview like this, then yeah, it's gonna have an effect. Couch, I hear you when you're saying the people are generally hurt by his words. Don't know if you can come on, Couch. I don't know if you're available. I'm not sure if you're working or not. But it depends how you're hurt. I wasn't even hurt by it. I wasn't hurt by it at all. And I wasn't hurt by his comments because I kind of read. I didn't, if you just grab the headlines and read the headlines, then yeah, you could be hurt. But if you're sort of trying to look deeper into it, it depends how you interpret it. I keep saying it all depends how people interpret it, because I interpreted it as to say that he's not happy. He's not happy with the way it's going for him. And all of us have said, a lot of us have said that we're not happy with the fact. I've been on a lot of streams. People are saying, "I'm not happy with the fact that he's only scored 4 goals for us," and so he's obviously not happy with his form. If he came out and said, "Yeah, I'm happy that I've only scored 4 goals," then you're going to question his ambition. So I was looking at it more of he's not happy rather than he's not happy with the manager. He's not happy with the way that he's playing. That's why he's saying that he's going to work harder, try harder. And even the comments that he made with regards to the Inter Milan supporters, I'm not. No, I didn't take that as disrespect to the Chelsea supporters at all. He has constantly said he's a Chelsea supporter. Even when he was at Inter Milan, he said he is a Chelsea supporter, and he said the only club that he will go back to is Chelsea. If it was another club, he would have stayed at Inter Milan. But the fact is that it's Chelsea came in, he's got unfinished business at the club, so this is the only club that he's willing to come back to. He didn't get to say his goodbyes when he was at Inter Milan. So he was. This was. Somebody said that it was him who called the press conference, and the club were unaware of it, which I'm not sure about, because you know what, the club should. I don't think you could just go off and do press conferences on your own. You have to have the club have to know what's going on. So if he did do that on his own without letting the club know, then you can criticise him for that. Yeah, but I think that's usually disciplinary if you just do a press conference outside of without the clubs knowing. So Terry Louise says, strangely, Sky Italia didn't feel the need. Fabrizio Romano did. Forget about Liverpool. It's a week before Spurs, led by Conte. Yeah, but we got to think about the next game. Liverpool's the next game. I know we've got to beat Spurs as well. Yeah, but Liverpool is a game that we still need to win. Even if we're not going to win the league, we still need to ensure that we're going to finish in the top 4. Beating Liverpool will give us confidence going on till the end of the season. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying with regards to it's the statement that he made to the Inter Milan fans. He didn't have a proper chance to say goodbye to the Inter Milan fans. And again, it's what you read. It's what you read, because some people were saying that he said he wants to go back to Milan. And it depends. If you are a glass half full sort of person, you're going to interpret that to say that he is saying that he wants to go back to Milan this season or next season. He didn't say that. He says he wants to go back to Inter Milan when he can still play a bit of football. When you're looking at Italy, if you look at the likes of Zeko's what, 34, 35, and he's made the move to Milan at that age. You look at Ibrahimovic, he's still playing at AC Milan at the age of 40. Romelu Lukaku wasn't saying that he wants to leave straight away. He says, look, he's probably going to have 3 or 4 years at Chelsea. And you never know. Chelsea may want to get rid of him after 2 or 3 seasons. So he's not going to burn his bridges for Inter Milan. So he said he wants to play for them again. And that's what footballers do. We want to stay on side with the fans. We may play Inter Milan at some point in the Champions League. So he doesn't want to tarnish his relationship with the Inter Milan supporters. We've all seen what happened in the past where players have left on a bad note. We've seen it with Gus Poyet at Chelsea, when the comments he made after he left to join Tottenham, for instance, and the abuse that he got, and he sort of tarnished his reputation. He would have walked away a legend at Chelsea, but the fact that he joined Tottenham, so he just tarnished his reputation. What Lukaku said he said that the Milan supporters treated him and his family, his wife, his son, really well. They had a good relationship with him. So that's why. So what do you want him to do? He's played for the club. He had a good relationship with the club. He's not going to, what do you want him to say to them? Oh, I'm at Chelsea now, so I don't want anything more to do with you. No, no. He wants that sort of relationship. If we want that sort of relationship with Lukaku as a fan base, then we need to treat this guy with respect, because even before he came, people were disrespecting him. Every mistake he made, Chelsea people in the fan base were disrespecting him. I remember when he was here as a kid, when he missed that penalty in the Super Cup. He was disrespected by a lot of our fan base. Nobody, but yeah, he still had that relationship, such as his love for the club. So, so for me, a lot of the fans who are having a go at him, where was your energy? Where was your support for him when he was here as a 19-year-old? And he doesn't really owe us anything as fans. A lot of us, a lot of the fan base, he doesn't owe us anything, because for me, we haven't treated him with any sort of respect that he deserves. Um, so Romano has no relationship with Chelsea. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, Romano has he's had a dislike for Chelsea, because he, him and I think Marina had a falling out, and he doesn't get a lot of the Chelsea news firsthand, I think, and because of that, his relationship has soured. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing when he because So for instance, when he says, I think he used a negative word, not in capital letters. So, but it's just the way that things are written sometimes, which gives for impact. And as a fan base, I think a lot of people fell for it, because he when you look at this transcript in full, but if you see what he said, what Lukaku has said, when you see it in full, it's not that bad. But when you see excerpts of it, that's what, even as I said, Tuchel said that himself in his press conference. When you're taking out extracts, it may seem worse than it is. Tuchel didn't have a problem with the interview itself. The only thing he had a problem with was the fact that um, he, not the words he said, but because the fact that he came out public and saying these things, because he says, because it's someone like of Lukaku, of his stature, he's a big name player, most expensive player for Chelsea. It's going to create some noise around the club, and that's what his issue was. But he's not unhappy, because if you look at what Tuchel said in the press conference, he said that he hasn't given the impression that he's unhappy at all. So that's why it makes me stay by what I think, by my convictions, that he wasn't having a go at, he's unhappy with Tuchel. He's just unhappy with it's the way it's started. His Chelsea career started out, because really he'd want to be on 10, 15 goals by now. And I think that's where his unhappiness stems from. Drogba and Costa wanted out of Chelsea. Oh, exactly. Facts, Terry Louise. Drogba said that he didn't want to leave um, Marseille. And even a couple of seasons into his Chelsea tenure, he repeated that he would have stayed at Marseille. He had a love for Marseille. But that still made him a legend at Chelsea. Costa was right. And then when everyone, and that's what makes me laugh, actually, because people have such short memories. Because I've been looking at some things on Twitter, and I've heard people say Costa will always be a legend in my eyes. But are you forgetting Costa wanted to engineer a move away to China? And that's when we're in a good moment. And he derailed our season. It was halfway through the season. China came with big bucks. Costa wanted to go. And that's where his relationship with Antonio Conte first broke down. So, and then there are people saying Costa's a legend. You know, what he did, in my eyes, was far worse than what Lukaku's done. So, people need to be objective. So he said the only reason he left Inter is for money. He didn't say that, Couch. He didn't say that. for money for yeah, but again, you're misinterpreting it. I think, Couch. He said the only reason he left Inter was for not for money for his pocket. It was money for their pocket. That's why he left, because Inter Milan needed the money. Stav, I think you need to put your mic on it. I think you're trying to get on, but the device, it says not connected, so I'm not sure. You need to put your headphones on. If you do that, I can let you in, mate. Yeah. So, Couch, I think you're misinterpreting that again, because it's it's for the money that Inter would receive for him. That's why he decided to leave. It wasn't for money that he got, because he forwent £20 million. He gave up £20 million to make this move to Chelsea happen. Hi, Steph. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Max.
Hey,
thanks for letting me on.
Yeah. That's all right. No worries. No worries. So, what's your take on all this?
I've watched the interview on Sky UK, Sky Sports UK, and it's been translated correctly. With regards to money, it's as you said, everybody knows that Inter were in financial bother, and they were going to be basically in the mire. This all relates back to the Chinese owners and things that were going on back in China. That's common knowledge. It's common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It was him trying to help the clubhouse, and I found the fan base, as you said, reaction absolutely ridiculous and childish. Like Drogba and Costa were wanting out of Chelsea weeks in. Mourinho had to talk Drogba into staying. I just don't understand where this is an insult to Chelsea fans. It's beyond my comprehension that people think that. He's perfectly entitled to, in his first Italian interview, to send a message to Inter fans. It's did Chelsea fans think that when Drogba returned and bowed down to all four stands, did they worry about the disrespect of Galatasaray fans? He's just basically showing his respect because he left at the end of a season, and that's how it's. I just can't understand it. It's really cheesing me off, the reaction. It's very childish. Are you there, Max? I can't understand it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I just had to remove my face. I'm having a bit of trouble with the camera. Yeah. I'm linking it to OBS at the minute, so that's why. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just very, very reactionary, I think, by a lot of the fan base, to me, because it's I'm not sure what Couch Critics just said. He said, what did he say, Couch? I'm not sure. Terry, he said he did say that.
He said that he only left Inter for the money.
But
that's his interpretation. It's other people's interpretation. If they don't lack the depth of thought to read into things properly, that's their issue. It's not Lukaku's, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not. It's not. As I said before, it's not money for his pocket. It's money for Inter's pocket. That's why he left.
They sold him and they sold Hakimi because they had to. Because the owners were in big trouble back in China with the government, and they had finances to pay back in China, and they were forced into selling players. And Lukaku was the biggest, basically, the one who would command the biggest fee. I mean, you look at Ashley Cole, for example. He left Arsenal, right? He was accused of leaving because of money. Right, yeah, he was probably moving for money that he thought he was worth, and Arsenal weren't willing to give him. Right, he got lots and lots of stick and abuse from Arsenal fans, but never once did he hit back at Arsenal. Never once has he belittled Arsenal or their fans. Right, and as much as he loves Chelsea, he still respects the Arsenal fans and the club. Right?
Yeah,
Why can't Lukaku not do the same with Inter, where he had his greatest moments to date?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, big up Ankit as well. Um, he asked for a new contract, and they couldn't give it to him, so he decided to leave. Um, I'm not sure about that one, Couch. I need
No,
to check that one, but I
sure,
don't think he did. Yeah,
I'm sure he didn't.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know about that one. I have to check because my understanding was that he wanted to stay. If Conte was there, he would have stayed. Yeah. If there had been a new offer, if there had been a new offer of a new contract from Inter last summer, as I wanted, we would not be doing this interview now here from London, but quietly from Milano. He smiles. A new
That's
contract based on money, more money, or what, or a bigger length of time. We don't know.
well, that's basically based on Romano's translation. Sky Sports UK does not have any of that in it. Right? It was independently translated, and none of that was mentioned. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's people looking for excuses to have digs at him. I'm really sorry. Nobody,
Yeah.
nobody, nobody got upset when Eden Hazard turned round and said that one day he will return to Chelsea. Right? Nobody got upset the other week when Ziyech said he hopes to one day return to Ajax. Right? Whilst he's still able to help them out, but that's down to Ajax, and that's immediately translated by the British media as him wanting to leave in January. People need to start reading the media as well and not believe everything they see. Right? None of that contract stuff was mentioned in the interview I watched on Sky Sports UK. None of it. People need to get a reality check. It's just knee jerk reacting. And because you're all upset that he in some way insulted you, you just want to see what you want to see. Right? I don't care. We've had lots of players, right, Joe Cole, everyone saw his reaction on BT Sport when Chelsea scored in the Champions League final and when the final whistle went, and yet he still respects West Ham. He still respects West Ham, and
Hmm.
they're a major rival. What is the matter with people? You can tell by my voice I'm getting really angry about the whole issue.
Yeah. Um. All right. I'm looking on Twitter and I'm seeing these comments that is being referred to by Couch. Um. Again, it's this is what it says. If there has been an offer of a new contract from Inter last summer, as I wanted, we would not be doing this interview now here from London, but quietly from Milano. Okay, I don't know what the question was, which was asked on that one, so I can't comment on it. And we don't. What we need to do, I keep saying to people, what we need to do is we need to look at what the questioning was before he gave the answer. So what Fabrizio Romano did yesterday, he stirred the pot by just mentioning a few things out of context. So it gave the fan base something to have a go at. So again, I can't comment on the statements by Fabrizio Romano until I've heard what the interviewer has said. I was on another stream yesterday. I think Stav, you were on it for a bit, and then this is how football works, guys. There was Ruud van Nistelrooy. Ruud van Nistelrooy, a big headline came on Sky Sports a few years ago, just before he joined Manchester United, and it said Ruud van Nistelrooy it says he wants to join Arsenal. Those were the headlines. Says he wants to join Arsenal, but then so to pull people in from Sky Sports, I said, okay, what's this about? Ruud van Nistelrooy wants to join Arsenal. So then a reporter had pushed a mic into Ruud van Nistelrooy's face and says, "Oh, Ruud van Nistelrooy, would you be interested in joining Arsenal if an offer came about? And Ruud van Nistelrooy is not going to say, no, I don't want to join them. He gave a diplomatic, oh yeah, that's something I'll consider if they and that's the diplomatic answer. They just gave it. He knew that it was nothing in it, but he was just responding to what the commentators said. And the headline out of that was Ruud van Nistelrooy said he wants to join Arsenal. So that's why I always like to look at context before I make a particular judgment. So just like this is a part 3 part of the interview, I need to see what the transcript was, because the interviewer may have been saying to him, were you upset by leaving Inter Milan, and would you have stayed if you had the opportunity to? So he may have given this as a diplomatic answer. So we just don't know. He does, again, as I said, he doesn't want to upset the Inter Milan fans. So I look at things slightly different. I kind of look at the context. Sometimes the players kind of are trying to do something to appease one fan base or another. So that's what we got to look at. Sometimes it's not a case of being disrespectful. We as a fan base are getting too insensitive now. And wouldn't you agree, Stav, that we criticize, when we, as a fan base, every little thing we criticize players about, but then when a player says something, it's disrupting the club and it's causing a bad feeling aura around the club. Yeah, as a fan base, that's what we're doing every time. I've seen Lukaku out. I don't want you at this club anymore, and that's what's stirring the pot more than anything. We're making this into a bigger thing than what it should be.
Yeah, I agree. Myself and you, Max, we've been around supporting Chelsea roughly 50 years, right? I'm not offended by anything that's been said, right? I didn't get offended when Joe Cole went to Liverpool and turned round. And this is Joe Cole, boyhood Chelsea fan, right? Turning round, saying, I've finally joined a big club, the biggest club in the world. And that's a boyhood Chelsea fan. What Chelsea fans didn't overreact. West Ham fans didn't overreact. You say what you have to say.
And you know what? Yeah. But you know what? With that Joe Cole one, he was then told that it was the media who kind of told him that he had to say that. That's what they do at Liverpool. They kind of get them to say these sorts of things. So he said that, but did he mean it? He didn't mean it. He just said it because he was at the club at the time. And that's what footballers do, that all the time. How many times have we heard a footballer say, "Oh, I've always wanted to join this club since I was a child"? Have they? There are some people who that they have a club. Like Lukaku, we did know that he's a Chelsea fan because he said it before he even joined. But sometimes, this is a club I've always wanted to join. No, you haven't. You're just saying that because you want to get the fans on your side. So yeah.
Can I just answer that comment by Anikit from Almighty Blues FC? Right, that is up on the screen. The one about dancer on the pitch, etc., etc. Right. If you get asked a question about how you're getting on at Chelsea, right, and you turn round and say that physically I'm okay, meaning he's recovered from COVID and his injuries, and then turns around and says, but the system is different and he's struggling with it, but as a professional, he's going to persevere, right, and try and overcome his difficulties. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? I don't understand. To me, he always had to answer on the pitch, even before this, right? Because people refused to accept the fact that he had injuries, and they were throwing all sorts of statistics out, forgetting how many games he'd actually started, right? And it's okay for them to slate him, criticise him, and abuse him on social media, but he's not allowed to respond to a question where he is being asked about how he's feeling regarding the progression of his time at Chelsea, and he said clearly he's struggling with the system, and he clearly stated that at the end of the day, it's up to the manager what system he plays or we play, and he will have to persevere and fit in. I
Yeah,
don't understand these comments
yeah, that's the
that
thing
people
for
are
me. A
making.
lot of people are not they're focusing on what they seem to be the negative, but not the positive. He said, "Look, it's up to me to work hard." That's what he said. I'm not used to this system yet, but it's up to me to work hard, and I welcome those comments because he's telling us. But it wasn't having a dig at Tuchel. He's saying it's more to him to be able to adapt to the system, and a lot of people, and that's what I don't get as well because you go on a lot of streams, Dev. I go on a lot of streams, and a lot of people have said we're not playing to the strengths of Lukaku, or Lukaku doesn't fit into the system. So people have said that. He's just reiterating what people have said, but yet they're upset by that. So
Yeah, yeah,
how?
but he
So
clearly,
there's double standards.
yeah,
Mm,
he clearly
yeah,
stated it's up to him to overcome because he's a professional, right?
yeah,
And now
yeah,
people are twisting. Oh, he's a professional. He shouldn't do this. Shouldn't do that. He shouldn't say this or he shouldn't say that. Right? I've been fed up by the. You know that I have issues with one particular channel, right? Where all they've done is been waiting for an excuse to berate him, right? And I'm not going to name them, right? But I found some of the stuff on there embarrassing. That channel talks about toxic fan base, and they can be as toxic as anyone else. Uh, I can't understand it. I want this guy to succeed. I want him to bang goals in. Right? I'm not going to criticise him publicly. I'm not going to go on social media and harangue him and berate him. Right? He wears a blue shirt. He's allowed to express himself and have emotions like everybody else, right? And he's all I saw him say was that he's not happy with himself because he's not getting the goals, basically, without saying in those words. This is how I read it. He's not happy, and he, as a professional, he's going to work at succeeding, right? And one thing I've said on various social media, right? I've said that Thomas Tuchel also needs to be less stubborn. He needs to adapt from game to game to the system and not put people in square pegs in round holes just to keep the system going. If the players are not available, then adapt to the system to the players
mm,
that are available. And I can't understand. Right, last night people were going on about somewhere else on another stream that he the club buy players and they gave him to the manager. He wasn't a Tuchel signing. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. They're all still living in the past on this Haaland thing. Haaland, right, is is an unreachable ideal. Right, Lukaku was the next best one that was available. Right, it's
yeah,
okay to say no. I wanted Jadon Sancho because he's a Chelsea boy. He's this, he's that. He understands the club. He understands that. But that doesn't apply to Lukaku. What is that all about? What is that all about? Don't carry out
yeah.
agendas.
Yeah, I think a lot. Yeah, a lot of it did stem from the fact that a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't get Haaland. A lot of people had their hopes on Haaland, and when that didn't come and Lukaku came in, there was always going to be some criticism against Lukaku. You know, I didn't want Lukaku. I'm not going to say that I stand there and say I didn't want Lukaku, but once it became obvious that we couldn't get Haaland, he wasn't gettable. I said, look, I'm going to support this guy, and I think he can come in and do a job for us. So anyone who comes into Chelsea, for me, they get a clean slate. I've got no hidden agenda against any player. I judge people on their performances on the pitch. Okay, and that's what it should be, you know. And if they're not playing that well, I will call them out. What I see not playing well. Sometimes there are circumstances around it, you know, because I know that me and you've had a disagreement before, Stav, about the situation with uh, Ziyech. But then obviously Ziyech he came in to play a certain system. We've changed the system and under Tuchel, and that's why Ziyech doesn't. He's not really the way we play doesn't suit his attributes. But he's started to play a little bit better now. But as you said before, Ziyech has come out and said the same sort of thing. He said, Lampard brought me to play a specific way. Now I'm playing in a different way. I'm not that happy, but I didn't see the same energy with Ziyech for that I'm seeing now with this Lukaku situation. Werner's gone away on international duty as well. He said he's not happy about his playing time, but again, the energy is not there for him. So players have spoken. It's not just Lukaku. The way that the fan base is going on, it's just like it's just Lukaku who's spoken out, but others haven't spoken out as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? I hear what people are saying about behind closed doors and everything should be kept behind closed doors and everything else. But we want footballers to be back in the day. I remember, we go back a long way, both of us. Footballers used to be honesty with footballers, didn't there? We used to have that connection with footballers back in the day when they used to just tell us how they felt at the time. Nowadays, we are having robotic footballers with standard answers. And I don't know these players. I don't know these players. I just know them as functional players on and off the pitch. I want to know more about them. That's why the likes of Stan Collymore, love him or hate him, he's a guy who always used to speak his mind. And we need to get those characters back into the game, because we've kind of lost that connection with them. Even social media is kind of manufactured as well. The way that they do their social media accounts, it has to be manufactured. The only one I say is kind of real, or somebody like a Sterling, and look at the way he's treated for being real in the media.
Yeah,
he's berated, but he's real, and they don't like people who are real and speak their minds.
Can I just say something, right, which will back up what you just said? When I was living in London, I used to coach a youth team on a Sunday in the Hazen District League. That's a league which basically gave football people like Ferdinand, Devonshire, that kind of player. And when I was going to Chelsea reserve matches, I got to know Clive Wilson quite well. And he used to come down and do a bit of coaching here, a bit of coaching there. He'd come and give the lads a boost by whenever we got to cup finals and things. And he used to do the evening presentations and that. And I got to know Les Ferdinand through him as well. Now, whenever he returned to Stamford Bridge with either QPR or Tottenham, Kerry Dixon, I used to work as a steward at that time, and I used to finish quite late, like once we cleared the terraces and stuff like that. And Kerry Dixon, every time he saw me outside the bar, Players Lounge, right, he would ask me, "Have you come to see Clive?" I say, "Yeah." And he would take me into the Players Bar, have a good chat with me, and then take me to Clive. And he used to go and sit with Clive and communicate with him. You know what I mean? This now is like you said, it's like robotic. There's no semblance of this, mixing with the fans and having. I don't know. I'm lost for words, to be honest. Another thing is I used to follow a sport called Speedway, right?
Yeah.
And we used to go to away matches. Used to get into loads of bantering, give rival riders abuse, all this kind of stuff. And then you'd be in the bar after the meeting, drinking with the opposing riders, with your own riders, and you just all standing there bantering and talking and having a laugh together. And that's what made Speedway back in the day. Now it's different. All this GP stuff, right? They're all aloof and it's very difficult to get near the current riders. And that society has turned this thing into let's be ultra professional and you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Why not? Why not? You want to communicate and mix with supporters, why shouldn't you? And I think that Lukaku showing respect to Inter Milan is something that people didn't like and have blown it out of all proportion. Um,
Yeah.
it's all things like. Can I just say one more thing? I want to clear something up about Ziyech, right? Um, he publicly, and Romano is just as guilty of this, right? And a couple of other Italians were peddling these stories that he's going to join an Italian club come January. And Ziyech went public and said, I've never said anything. I can't control what reporters will say or write. I never said a thing. I am perfectly happy at Chelsea, although I would like more game time. I came here from a club I loved, and I've won the Champions League and Super Cup, right? And he goes, why would I want to leave, right? And he's another one. You watch him when he does get a game, he's trying to adapt to the system and fit in, right? What people don't realise about him, right, is I follow Ajax as well, right, on the side type of thing, right? So I watched him before he came, right? As a kid, his father died when he was young, and he went on drugs, right? He couldn't cope with it. He went on drugs, and football's basically saved him, right? And another thing people don't realise and should, right? Because he's another one who takes a lot of criticism, right? A lot of it unjustified. The season we signed him, we wanted him. Lampard wanted him in the January, but Ajax didn't want to release him because they were chasing the title. This is the first year of COVID.
Oh yeah,
right?
I think the games got called off, didn't they, in Holland? So he didn't play a lot of football.
And
yeah.
And he was injured in January as well, right? Then he returned, played 2 half games, right? And the league was stopped, like you said. He didn't have any European competition or local Dutch competition or anything. And he came to Chelsea cold, right? Then he gets injured first match, comes back after a while and aggravates his injury again. And he's had all that to cope with on top of what Werner, Havertz and the others had to cope with, like with COVID, new league, new country, right? And when people like Werner, Havertz, Silva, etc., were going away to play international football, they were going to their own countries, meeting their families, whatever, within constraints, right? With Ziyech, he was going off with Morocco, even though he's Dutch, right? So he never got to meet family, never got to see friends, right? Because he wasn't going to Holland. So that's another difficulty he's had to face, right? And the coach of Morocco wanted him to play, right, when he was still injured. Not fully injured, he was just still in his recovery phase, and he refused to play. And that's basically led to friction, and he's been dropped. Now, I'm happy with that. I'm happy he's available, whilst everyone else is, like Mane and Salah and people like that, are going to be away. Right? I'm happy with that. But people need to realise that I accept what these players have had to go through, the new players, right? And they've also had to have a change of manager and change the system. But he had to go through a hell of a lot more before he even started, right? And on top of that, he was playing with a shoulder harness, right? After his injury in the Super Cup. When he came back, he was playing with a shoulder. And Tuchel even mentioned that, right? This is what we need. We need more, what's the word? Where people just say what's going on, what's
more
happening.
Sort of insight into why it's happening. Yeah, there's always a cause for something happening sometimes. Yeah,
so
it's
people,
easy for it's easily done. Yeah, because I've made that mistake before. We've got to look at the context surrounding everything.
I'm not just talking about him. Right?
No, everything.
Yeah, everything, right? And like Tuchel came out and publicly stated, right, that he was playing with a harness and he was having difficulty in his movement and stuff like that. And if you're playing with a harness, right, you're going to be a bit cagier about going in for challenges and stuff like that, right? He was our best player pre-season, right, and then he picked that injury up. And the last few games he's played, he's looked good again. Now I know what he's capable of. All Chelsea fans know what he's capable of when he played it against us for Ajax. But they still criticise him. They don't stop. The fan
That's the
base
thing.
needs.
You know what? Because I was critical of him for some of his performances before, but then I saw that he picked up his performances. So as I said, look, this is what I'm starting to see now, an improved Ziyech. But some people still don't want to see that because it's more of an agenda against. So anyone who wants to come on, Tyrone, welcome to the stream, mate. I've put the link in there. Ensai, you said you wanted to come on. I don't mind people who are for or against. That's what this debate is about. So I'll put the link in the chat again. Ensai, you said you want to come on and say something against Lukaku. Your thoughts are welcomed as well, mate. Cruiser, you want to jump on, or welcome Kasim to the channel. Anyone hasn't subscribed to Kasim, subscribe to his channel as well. He does a lot of late night streams. So if you're a night owl and you want to catch up with Kasim, just subscribe to his channel, mate. So Tyrone, how are you doing, mate? So what's your thoughts? Obviously, we spoke about Lukaku's situation yesterday. We've heard the response from our manager, Tuchel, this morning. So what's your thoughts on both of those, mate? You there, Tyrone?
I think he's got his mic on mute.
Yeah, you're on mute, Tyrone. If you're... He's probably popped away, so he should. Hopefully, he'll be back in a minute. Yeah. So I also want to pick up on something that you said, and I kind of mentioned before about the players not sort of having that sort of relationship with the fans anymore. Because I took one of my boys to the open day one year, a couple of seasons ago, and I was really disappointed with the way it went, because obviously I'm not sure if you've been to any of the open days recently, but what they do, they have a training session and they have a couple of like ball jugglers there and some sort of entertainment, but at open day you do think that you can then mingle a bit with the players, take some photos or whatever, but they didn't even do that. What they did, they just came over, just like an ordinary match day, came over, clapped to the supporters, didn't even say anything, say a word, and then off they went. So I expect an open day so you can get to know the players, have some photo opportunities, etc., and that sort of thing. But they don't even do that anymore. So it's disappointing to me, mate. Kasim, welcome to the stream. How you doing, mate?
Oh, Max, top man. Thanks for having me, bro. How's everyone? Okay?
Right. Yeah, not bad. I just want to get your thoughts, mate, on, because obviously we've heard what Thomas Tuchel's had to say now about everything.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to hear what your thoughts are on
well,
this.
Yeah, as I said to you, obviously Tuchel is the boss, isn't he? He's gonna tell him, look, he's gonna sit down with him. Obviously he's not gonna try to make it, big, because Max, what the media like. He's gonna sit down with him and said, look, Lukaku, I am the boss, right? And that's what it's gonna be. And we got the future. Well, we don't know what the future holds. If it's getting nasty, so one of them has to go, and more or less it's gonna be maybe always the manager, isn't it? Because the player has got a value, isn't it? So, but I'm optimistic. I think Lukaku will start the weekend. I think it could be agreement to disagreement, but I think Max, what the media like, and the fans straight away jumping in. So Lukaku could be mistaken if he said that, but the media made it big, very big. I believe it's going to be addressed, and I need it to be addressed because we don't need that right now. I need Lukaku to play. I need manager to be I need Tuchel to be our manager. I don't want to lose any one of them because I need Lukaku on top form, and we need help at the moment because we're not playing great and we're in a bit bad time in the minute. Chelsea, I'm not gonna lie. And Tuchel is a world class manager. I need both of them. I'm pretty sure they're going to sit down together and they're going to sort it out. I'm not worried about that. It's just, the fans, the media. It's not helping, is it?
Yeah, but even in the questioning today at Thomas Tuchel's press conference, where
Yeah.
they said, "How do you feel about Lukaku saying that he's not happy?" But for me, I don't think he mentioned the words unhappy. I didn't say he's unhappy with Tuchel. I still think that he's unhappy with his form, like the rest of us fan base are at the moment. That's my interpretation behind it. But again, they were stirring the pot by it's what the words that you say. Because Thomas Tuchel's response was like he hasn't given me the impression that he's unhappy. Every time he's in training, he's happy, he's working hard, and everything else. So I just kind of think that. Even remember, English isn't his first language as well. But people got to remember that,
He's an intelligent guy, though, Max. Lukaku's a very intelligent guy.
He is intelligent, yeah, and speaking in Italian. So as I said, it depends on. I think some of the journalists knew what he meant. He wasn't when they said when he said he's not unhappy. He's unhappy because as I said, I looked at it. I even asked Zane, who's my 12-year-old son. I read the article to him, and I said, "Do you see this as disrespectful?" And he was of the same opinion as me. No, I don't think he's saying he's unhappy with the way it's gone for him so far. Not unhappy with the manager. So I think by people putting in that he's unhappy with the manager, it's just a case of hitting us when we're down. Yeah.
It's a bigger story, isn't it? It's a bigger story. Right? If you say Lukaku's unhappy with himself, it's nothing, because a lot of players will turn around and say, "I'm not happy with my form," etc., etc. But if they twist it and turn it right into a anti Tuchel thing, right, then it's a bigger sale, isn't it? It's a bigger clickbait. It's bigger this, it's bigger that, right? To have someone attacking the manager rather than attacking their own form. And he quite clearly stated that he's not happy. He's physically fit, obviously relating to his injuries and COVID, but he's not happy because it's a new system and he's not adapting as well as he would like. But as a professional, I will work hard to fit into the system, and the manager makes these decisions. Because he said the manager makes these decisions, they've twisted that as well. And it's true. Yeah. Manager does make the decisions. To me, that's a sign of respect for Tuchel, not an attack. The manager makes these decisions, i.e. system, selections, etc., etc. Ziyech even said the same thing as well, that when he was getting left out, he's not angry, right? Because he understands that there has to be a boss, and that's the manager.
Max, I just want to say, sorry, mate. Max, I want to say, I think it's the timing. That's what Beeble across, I think, because Chelsea obviously lost the lead, from the Premier League. City looks like it's going to go clear and win it. It's just the timing, I think, what Lukaku come out. I think that's what bothering me. Let me
just respond to him. It was 3 weeks ago he did that video. That's why before you came on to the show, that's why I said people always wait for moments when teams are at their lowest ebb before putting out these bad news stories. Okay, and so that interview was done 3 weeks ago. It could have been put out any time. As we've been on top of the league, then it's going to be like a less of a story, because even Thomas Tuchel alluded to that.
That's what I'm saying.
It would have been less of a story, but it's been put out. He didn't say, if Lukaku said, "Look, I want this out," when Chelsea are 6 or 7 points behind it, which he wouldn't say. I wouldn't say. Then you could say, okay, he's timed it right, or he did the interview yesterday and it was put out today, or the day before yesterday and it was put out yesterday. Then we could say, why is he putting out an interview now? He didn't, and a lot of people as well are stirring the pot in that they're saying that he's unhappy because he's being left out or whatever. He hasn't been left out of the side. When he's been fit, he's been playing. The reason why he hasn't played in the last few games is because the manager, as we quite clearly saw, what game was it? Was it the game against Man U when he came on and he was a passenger? Was it Man U?
For 10 minutes, for last 7 minutes, I think, or 8 minutes. No, that was...
No, what game would he come on? He played the whole of the second half for, and he was literally a passenger. Was it the Wolves game? Yeah, the Wolves game, I think it was. Yeah,
Because
he
he
was
wasn't
literally a
fully fit.
passenger because he wasn't fit. Yeah, he wasn't fit. And the manager even said at the time, ideally, I wouldn't have. I didn't want to play him. The only reason I played him is because of our circumstances. We got no fit strikers. So Lukaku, you can't say he was unhappy. And some people are saying he was unhappy because he hasn't been playing. But he has been playing. That's what I'm saying. The fact is, when he's been fit, he's been one of the first names on the team sheet. So it's the stuff like that that people have to just think before they talk.
It's just that what I'm trying to say is, I needed to go away. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care about Lukaku and Tuchel in a minute. I care about Chelsea Football Club. We got a Liverpool, but I heard Liverpool got a lot of COVID cases. I think Alisson is not playing 100%.
I heard they got 3 cases, haven't they? I heard.
Yeah, Alisson, one of them, and it could be Mo Salah as well. Could be Mo Salah.
Right.
Yeah, I know for a fact that Alisson is not playing, but Mo Salah 50-50. That midfielder, the Spanish one, he's definitely not playing. He's got, I think, hip injury or something.
Thiago Alcantara.
Yeah, he's definitely out. So it could be, it could be called off for a while. We're gonna find out in a few hours' time if the game is gonna go ahead or not. We're not sure.
If that game is called off, it's gonna. For me, that's double standards. Yeah, that's double standards because Liverpool. They're no different from what we were when we had our game against Wolves on. It may not be a bad thing for us as well.
But to be fair, Max, if Mo Salah is out, I wanted the game was on because he's a dangerous man. If he's out with COVID, I wanted the game to. I think Chelsea will have a chance to beat him. But if Mo Salah out and the game cancelled, I'd be fuming. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, if Salah and Alisson are out.
Yeah.
And another, then we do stand a chance. Yeah.
Listen, Max, big up, Max. I came to your channel quickly, bro. I thank you for having me, top man. And people, please like and subscribe to Max. He's a top man. And thanks for having me, bro. Thank you very much.
No worries, Kasim. Thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for cheers. I'm just reading a tweet here from Matt Law. This is how far this has got. He says, I understand there's zero chance of Lukaku leaving Chelsea in January and he has no intention of trying to quit the club. So why is it? Did we ever think he was going to try and quit the club? Who's thinking that? Because I didn't.
Some people were because because if you have people saying that, I think that we should keep him for the rest of the season and then sell him in the summer or let him leave, and obviously you'll have some people who's thinking that he was to leave because it's all about misinterpretation. Because the first part it really doesn't tell the full story, but when you see like more of it, to me, I never really saw it as being disrespectful in the first place. Because if you think about it, I would think of it in the same way as, for example, with Thomas Tuchel, when Lampard got sacked, or the day before he got sacked, people were talking about who should come in for him. And people are saying Nagelsmann. Now, if you're going to say that I want this person in, you are considering all your options. Thomas Tuchel, it's not that you don't think he's competent enough. It's not that you think he's not good enough. It's just that he's not your first choice. Now, if Lukaku is saying that he wanted to stay at Inter Milan, that is his option. That's what he shows. That's what he thinks is good for him. And if he's going to say that teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid or whatever other club he said is a top team, you have to understand that historically that is what players think. Because if you think about it now, young players are saying they want to go to Real Madrid at some point because historically they have the success that would attract players. And that they want to be of a new era, or they want to be a part of something new that they're going to plan to do. So Lukaku saying that he wanted to stay at Inter Milan. He went to the administrators. They did not accept his request. And then he said that the only other place he could think of is coming to Chelsea. He's not disrespecting. The part that I think people are getting upset at is because he brought up the system. But at the same time, to me, I don't really think he was saying that there's something wrong with the system. If you think about it, you can link the Aston Villa post-match interview that he had with this, because if it's before, obviously he's probably going to have a different frame of mind. Because if you think about it, he said that he spoke to Thomas Tuchel, he made his decision, and and I have to live with it. So maybe he told him that you're not playing, or you're not playing to my strengths or something like that, and Tuchel said that he'll try to adjust certain things to accommodate him. It's not like he's saying that I don't think. I don't think you're good enough. You're not competent enough to bring Chelsea to where they're supposed to be. It's not like that. He's saying that he plays a system, and it all comes back to Lukaku is used to playing a certain way. He's been a part of counter-attacking teams. If you're in a possessive team where they like to have the ball at their feet most of the game, you're not going to be used to it, because you over the years you're used to playing in a team that be counter-attack, a little build-up here. The striker touches the ball here, passes the ball, and they try to get to the box, and the striker finishes it. He's not going to really be open to it, because if he's been used to playing to a system, or he's used to playing in a certain way, he's not going to be really open to it, because he's used to it. And obviously people say that he's stubborn, and he's a striker. If he's a professional, he should try to adjust to the situation. And that's basically what he's saying. He says that the manager made this decision, I have to be professional and try to work with it. So obviously people are misinterpreting it. And I mean, I always say that if it was a case where Chelsea were on a win streak right now, you may not even see this until months. So the reason why the media did this is because Chelsea are in a tough position, and to add salt to the open wound, they brought this up to really get the attention. And it can remind me of the Lampard situation, because when Lampard got sacked, the same day you see in the Telegraph coming up with things like he had not spoken to players for months, things like that. They're not going to say that this is happening right now while he's the manager. They wait until everything is going terrible, or something has happened, where they're allowed to disclose what they know, or the information that they have. So it's about interpretation, it's about thinking. And I mean, on Twitter, we had a little discussion, back and forth and everything. It's people are using the part of their brain that is mostly with emotions. They're not using their brain to think about it, to say, this seems like a situation like with Lampard. When he got sacked, you saw people coming out with he did not speak to certain players, such was happening. He followed up with Marina and Petr Cech, things like that. They're not going to come out and say that Frank Lampard is not on good terms with Chelsea board. They're not going to come out and say that. So people have to think about the situation as he had his preferences. He decided that, you know what, Inter Milan are not going to extend with me. I'll go somewhere else. And he said that he won't decide on Chelsea until they make a bid. So and that's what they did. And he agreed to it, and he came. So at the same time, people have to think about it. You have to think and not react, because people are very reactive when they see certain things, and you have to dissect these type of things, because the media is known to twisting stories so that they can get a reaction from fans or the people that will be interact with it. So obviously, I didn't see it as being disrespectful from the very beginning, because by that logic, you're saying that when people didn't want Lukaku, they wanted Haaland, or they wanted Vlahovic, or they wanted other people. They're saying that he's not good enough. They're disrespecting them. That would be that logic, because if he's saying that he would prefer to do this, clearly that means that he has his preferences, and that's what fans did. They had their preferences on the striker that they wanted. So you have to think about it from a retrospect that this is the situation. He had his preferences, and if the truth is that he wanted to have that interview to apologize to Inter Milan fans, even though there are reports that they made a banner that they don't want him back or they hate him. So obviously, I don't know if it really worked out in the way he wanted it to work out. But I mean, he wasn't trying to be disrespectful. And I mean, I'll always say this: Belgians have this tendency where they'll be, I don't want to say apologetic, but like they have that reaction where they don't want to really cause an upset, so they apologize. And I can remember 3 Belgians that related to Chelsea. Courtois, after we played in Real Madrid, he said that he still has some connection with Chelsea, even though he knows that they call him a snake and things like that. You had Hazard when he was seen laughing with Zuma. He came and apologized to the fans, and even when he was leaving on Instagram, to Chelsea, he said, "Dear Chelsea fans, so on, so on. I have enjoyed the 7 years I've spent with you, and I mean, I'm going on to a new thing where it's always been my dream to play for Real Madrid. So obviously it's all about being apologetic. They don't want problem, and that's something good. They don't like the drama. They try to push themselves away from it, and that's something good. But I really think that people should think about it from the perspective that he's just expressing himself. And I mean, if he says that the system doesn't suit him, that's good. You want to be hearing that he has an issue. You can't, even though people say that we don't need it right now. I mean, it's not his fault. They disclose it at a certain time, and I mean, he might have interpreted when they asked him if it's okay. He's not going to think of it as, oh, they're going to take it as being disrespectful, because in his mind he's going to believe that I said it from this perspective, so I'm hoping that they'll see it from that same light. So obviously you have to think about it from his perspective as well, and not really from the fans' perspective, because people twist it around and say that he wants to leave. But if Matt Law is saying that there's likelihood of him leaving is little to nothing, then I mean, he's not going anywhere. It's not like he wants to leave. It's just that he wanted to apologize to the Inter Milan fans for leaving the way he did after he said that he's not going anywhere. So I mean, it's about him apologizing, and maybe he should have brought up the system. But like we said, Belgians, they tend to talk a lot and they don't know when to stop, and that's probably one of his downfalls, and that's why people have this reaction.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's all about understanding the culture of different people, and yeah, so Courtois was quite outspoken as well sometimes. Hazard never, we always knew that he was going to join Real Madrid at some point, because he's always said that in his career. And but the fact is, people they respect Hazard, even though when he was at Chelsea, he said, "Look, one day I'm going to be joining Barcelona." He said it on a number of occasions, but the fans didn't have a go at him. And you know what? It got to the point where some supporters, actually, when we played Real Madrid, they said they wanted Real Madrid to beat us because we've won a Champions League before, and Hazard hasn't won a Champions League. So that's the sort of fan base we're dealing with at the moment. And what's ironic as well to me is, people are saying about Lukaku being outspoken and he shouldn't have said those words. But the guy that we wanted instead of him, if you think Lukaku is outspoken, you haven't seen anything yet from this guy, Erling Haaland, because Erling Haaland, he is one of the most outspoken individuals. Let's go and watch some of his press conferences. And
Yeah.
the other day, he had a go at his teammates, didn't he? Because I think they lost the game, and he was very disrespectful to the way he had to go at his teammates. So, if you be careful what you wish for, because if we get this guy in, then there's going to be a lot more animosity against him.
Can I respond to what you just said there?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not only is he disrespectful, his agent is disrespectful.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? His father is disrespectful, and one of the Norwegian media, right, Jan
Fjortov. Yeah.
He's got a big mouth as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now I watched him, right, play against Ajax, right, and Ajax don't have anywhere near the quality defenders we do, right? And he had 2 shots the whole game, and they totally controlled him. This conception, right, that if he comes to England, he's going to be a massive success just because he's big, fast, strong, etc., right? It's no one can know if he's going to be any good, right? Because so far, Norwegian, Austrian, and German leagues, right? Austrian and Norwegian leagues are nothing, right? They barely qualify, right, for European competitions into the knockout stages, right? And the other thing is that the German league, you've seen Werner, you've seen other people come from the German league and not succeeded. The difference between him and Werner is that Werner is a secondary striker in the vein of Ardegood Johnson, David Speedy, going back further, right? And he needs to feed off the lead striker. I think that we may see a change in the system slightly, in that Tuchel may try to pair them up. But that was actually being tried until they both got injured in the same game.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they both got COVID. Right? And people just need to get a reality check. Just because someone's a success in Germany doesn't mean they're going to come in and hit the ground running. I don't care. Let him go to Real Madrid. He's already said that he has no interest in the Premier League. Right? That's how he's been quoted. Let him go to Spain. I don't care. Let him go to Spain. Couldn't care less. Has he managed to get Borussia Dortmund to a semi-final or final of the Champions League? They can't.
Yeah.
They didn't even get out of the group stage.
The fact he was injured a bit though, to be fair to him. But for me, yeah. But for me, yeah. For me, the thing is, as you quite rightly said, we just don't know what we're getting when one player moves from one league to another. Being good in one league doesn't guarantee you success in another league, because if you look at Jadon Sancho now, he's struggling to get the numbers that he did at Dortmund. At Dortmund, he was getting goals and assists every other game. You know, he was double digits for goals and assists. You know, he's starting to play more often now, but he's not getting the numbers that he did. And he's played in the English league as well. You can't say that he needs to adapt, because he's actually played.
And he's English, and he grew up in the country.
Exactly.
Like
exactly. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Right. Obviously, I'm going to go back. I saw Zlatan play in his early days for Ajax, because if Chelsea weren't playing, I used to go over and go to games, because I had friends who were Ajax fans in Amsterdam. I used to go. So Zlatan play, right? He went to Barcelona. Everybody knows the story. They sold Eto'o, and he couldn't get on with Pep, right? And because Pep wanted to play a game different to what suits Zlatan. He went to Inter, and he was a success under Jose, because Jose played the system that suited him, right? There's no guarantee that if Haaland comes in and goes into Tuchel's system, that he's going to be any more successful than Lukaku, like has been. But I also want to approach another one that I saw play. Klaus-Jan Huntelaar, right? Steaming top scorer for 4 or 5 years in succession in Holland, right? Left Ajax, went to Real Madrid, flunked, right? Left Real Madrid, went to Italy and joined AC Milan, flunked, right? Then he went to Germany, and he was a massive success.
Yeah.
A massive success, right?
Here's another one for you. I've got another one for you. Haller. Remember Haller? He was in Germany, success, went to West Ham, didn't do anything, and now he's banging in goals at Ajax, you know.
Top scorer in the Champions League as well.
Yeah.
Even outscored Ronaldo. Right?
Yep.
It's all about, like, the defences you face. And such things, right? And you can't just. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right. Yeah. You can't just make an instant assumption that because someone's good in one league, they're going to be good in another league, right? Like, and another thing about Lukaku, which people belittle what he did at Everton, right? And he had successes at Man United as well, and West Brom, right? And people go, "Oh, he never scores against the big teams." Didn't he get 4 in one game against Man United in the season?
Yeah. And he doesn't score big goals, they're saying, but didn't he score he scored 2 big goals. You know, he came on against Aston Villa, scored a big goal then. Yeah. He should have arguably, you know, would have got the winner had it not been for, you know, us running out of steam against Brighton. You know, he's come in now after his injury, because what you're seeing now, I think you're seeing a fitter Lukaku now. This is the last 2 games he played was you know, you're seeing more movement, better hold up play. Why? Because he had that break. And what people forget to realize as well with Lukaku is that he was advised not to start the season. Remember, he played throughout.
Right.
Remember, we had the Euros as well, and he played in that. The season before, because of the COVID situation, Inter Milan got to the final. Remember, they got to the final of the Europa League, so they had all those games to play, and so he hasn't had a rest now. So he didn't really have a rest throughout the pre-season and everything else. The medical staff said that he had some sort of muscle fatigue as well, so he shouldn't have really been playing. Okay, now that he's got a rest, albeit through the injury and the COVID, the last two games you've seen a sharper Lukaku, more movement from him, a goal scoring Lukaku. So it's looking better now, and I think the players that he's got around him, the runners, Callum Hudson-Odoi is getting in the crosses for him, giving him the assists, etc., and that's kind of helped as well. And I said, I agree with you what you said earlier, where they were trying to do something with him and Werner before their injury. So I think that had that continued, that may have been a success as well. We don't know.
I don't know what's the matter with Werner. I think he's probably got the full-blown COVID.
Yeah, I think he's probably not got the Omicron. He's got the other one, which is because he's been out longer than the others. So he's probably got the Delta variant. Yeah.
I just wish our fan base would just stop, think before posting things, before opening their mouths, before using their fingers to type things, right? And stop all this knee-jerk nonsense. They need to look up the word supporter and what the meaning is of it, and fanatic, right? Fanatics and supporters are two different things, but we all purport to be supporters, right? I mean, I emigrated, right, in 2007, and I've seen them here in Cyprus against Apoel, and I went to Olympiacos when Grant was the manager, 2008, January, right? And I've been a couple of games when I've gone back home as well, but now I'm disabled. It's difficult for me to get to and from games, but I still stop and think before I criticise somebody, right? I try to add substance to any criticism, and this whole thing's been blown out of proportion. And the thing that makes me, right, angry is that Sky Sports Italia didn't even think, right, to make it an issue, right? They could have, Italy, Germany, right, especially in Spain to a lesser extent, hate English football because of its success, right? And yet Sky Sports Italia didn't purport it as him attacking Tuchel, or that he wanted to leave, or any of this stuff. Some third-rate Italian hack who basically has no connection to the club, has issues with the club, but is highly respected by social media and fan sources. It's decided to make his translation, right, and turn it into something it wasn't. And fans need to stop and think, right, before they react. And I saw some real nonsense, some real embarrassing nonsense last night. Right, I'll tell you what. You know, Luke Cloud's TV, right? He was the only one that I saw, right, that tried to keep it in context, right? And the rest basically went on the attack, except for
I think Monster was okay when his
I don't watch all of them, but the ones I watch, wait, check the details, check the facts the next morning, right? And wait and see how it plays out before you go into attacking somebody.
Yeah, I wanted to see the transcript. That's why I said I wasn't going to pass judgment until I saw the full transcript, because yeah, because you know, you just need to see everything in context before going off. And people should know how the media work. You know, they should know how people like to stir the pot. So in this one, I think we just played right into the media's hands by the reactions of the fans and things like that. And it doesn't have to be a big deal if the fans didn't make it into a big deal. I think I'm hearing people say that it shouldn't be a big deal, but if we are making it into a big deal through what our reactions are on social media about it and all the negativity around it, then I keep saying the media have won. They've won because they've done their job. They've divided the fan base just before one of our biggest matches of the season.
Max, are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Right. I run a Facebook page, right, which is, shall we say, old school supporters, people who I know. I started the page because I used to go on Facebook pages, right, which was full of idiots, basically. And me and some other guys were like basically having a go at the idiots for the way they were responding. So this isn't a new thing. So I started that Facebook page, right? And it's basically called Chelsea FC Old School before 2004, right? And I posted something this morning in response to all the nonsense I saw last night, right? And basically, I've said that I see Romano as having an agenda, right? And I said that I see that social media, right, especially on Twitter and YouTube, right, all they think about, oh, here's a chance for me to get some good content out. They don't stop to think, well, hang on a minute, I could be causing damage here. Let me wait and see what the true story is, right? And then I'll do it tomorrow. No, they have to get it out there and then, react to it there and then, knee-jerk reactions, right? I'm gonna watch that monster later on because I didn't see him, and I posted something which was quite long, and I said I'm not going to tolerate anybody who reacts to it making negative comments until everything become clear, right? And I would remove the comments.
The thing is, some of us, being a content creator myself, sometimes I'm guilty of that myself. That's why I said after the Brighton game, because I said something about Lukaku, not Lukaku, but about Hudson-Odoi costing us the game. But then, having looked at it, I didn't realise that the Brighton player had handballed it when he crossed it to stop it from getting to Callum, and that's why to Mason Mount, and that's why I said I need to look at myself as well, and don't do something just after a game, because when you do stuff after a game, sometimes your emotions take over. So I said I need to probably reevaluate, look at something again, get my thoughts together, and then come out with my analysis, because then it'll be a bit more balanced. You know, it's not running high on emotion or something like that. So in that instance, that's where I can improve. So I'm putting my hand up for myself
I posted in the Facebook group that basically I did no pictures, no nothing. I just said, hands up anybody who didn't see that Brighton goal coming, and I saw that as valid because we were lucky.
It was. I even said it to my boy Zane. I said, look, they're going to equalise. They are going. I saw an equaliser coming. Even if it's in the 93rd, 94th, I said they are going to equal. You know, we can't keep. Brighton deserved a point. They did deserve the point, and we were when you miss like 5 more chances, then
The thing is, people were going on about our missed chances, right? This is reactionary again.
But Brighton were all over us before.
Missed this chance, blah blah, etc.
Yeah.
But the actual statistics were Brighton had 53%, because I watched it on Cyprus TV, right, on the local cable channel. They had 53% possession away to Chelsea, 23 attempts on goal, right? I can't remember how many on target. So Brighton fans could be doing the same thing.
They deserve if even that's what I said to some people. Some people were saying that Brighton got away with it, they're lucky for that last minute goal, but no, on reflection, they deserved the point, if not more. So sometimes we've got to be objective in what we say. Obviously, we all like to see things in blue tinted glasses, but sometimes we just need to call it as it is. Sometimes
I didn't think that my team had that bad a game, considering it was him. Maybe the bookings were a bit uneven, but the penalty wasn't a penalty from Pulisic, right?
I thought it was.
I thought it was. I thought it was at the time, but I've watched it again, and he was already on his way down. Right?
Yeah, but even so, the guy did dangle a leg out, although he was on his way down. I've seen Salah many times get penalties when he's on his way down.
Don't get me wrong. There is a lot of that going on, right? Where strikers leave their leg there to have contact, where they'll stop running to get a push in the back or whatever. Players just can't. It's not always black and white that it's a penalty. And I thought it was a penalty, right? I thought it was a penalty, and I was screaming, right, at the time. But I've watched it again since, because the cable thing that I've got, the Cypriot one, you can rewind and replay, even up to 7 days. So I've watched it a few times, and it wasn't a penalty. It would have been a soft one if he gave it. Let's put it that way, a really soft one. Right, but again, I didn't make a comment about that. Right, I didn't make any comments about Callum missing a chance, because on reflection, Brighton could have quite easily won that game, and their fans could be thinking like, well, we missed out there, right? I don't know. I haven't checked anything on Brighton, how they reacted to it. I would imagine they would react like with respect for their players, the way they went at it and stuff like that, right? And even West Ham, if you take out the deflection, right, on the winning goal, you could see it coming. Right? Because they were at it. They were at us all the time, right? And you could see it coming. I mean, Sunday at Liverpool, it could go one or two ways. If it goes ahead, we could surprise them, and it would be a surprise on current form, right? Or we're going to get a bit of a shellacking.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like say that's for definite. A lot depends now. I mean, if Salah and Alisson are missing, but then their standing goalkeeper had a blinder the other night, didn't he? In the League Cup.
Yeah.
And Alisson's had mistakes in him this season as well. So you got to take everything with a pinch of salt, take it into context.
If Salah's missing, that'd be big for them, though. Yeah. That'd be big.
Yeah, I mean, I've never counted them as a threat in the title running, in the title chase, because there's no way they're not going to miss Mane, Salah, even Keita, because he's gone as well.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way they're not going to miss them. And we've got the advantage of keeping Ziyech, right? And I think if the defence in front of him is solid and the DMs are playing their game, Kepa's more than adequate.
I think that's another one. That's what I'm saying. With Kepa, even with me this season, because you know what my thoughts were on Kepa before. This season, I've got to say he's played well. Every time he's come in, he's played well. He's he hasn't let us down this season. And I think he's got his confidence back up.
The thing is, in the first season under Lampard, his confidence was destroyed, right? And I don't think that the zonal marking on set pieces helped. I think we conceded 20 goals on zonal marking, right? And you can't compare Lampard to Tuchel, defensive-minded, because even as a player, Lampard didn't have any defensive acumen whatsoever. And he came in wanting to please Roman by supplying that attacking football. And he chopped and changed the defence virtually every game. There was never any settle there, and Kepa became a obvious scapegoat, right? Because nobody wanted to slag off defenders. And then last season, Mendy comes in, and we're attacking the defenders, right? It's the same thing again. You're attacking the defenders last season. Lampard gets sacked. I think the thing was that was untenable. We weren't going anywhere. We just stayed, right?
After the Leicester game, the body language was, to me, similar to what happened with Jose that time. Again, against Leicester, you looked at that game and you thought, no, this is something's not working here. Something's got to give. Yeah. Anyway, you know what? I need to. Yeah. I need to go because I was only meant to be on for an hour and a half. I've got some things that I need to do now. So thanks for coming on, Stav. Ty, you still around?
No problem.
Yeah.
So what's your final thoughts, Ty? You got any final thoughts before I close
about the game?
Just about the Lukaku situation and the game tomorrow.
People are saying there are people saying that his friends came on and said it's unbelievable what he did, but I think he would think the same thing knowing that the reactions are this way, because I think it came off Twitter as well, so obviously he was going to probably get hate, so he stayed off. But I mean, for me, I think it's about interpretation, and I mean, I don't think he meant anything bad by it. I just think he just wanted to express himself for both to the Inter Milan fans and how he felt based on the system. And I mean, the game, I don't know what to think about the game, because we have only one fullback available, wing back in Alonso, so we're forced to play somebody out of position. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I just hope that we can get a result out of it. I'm not writing a win, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. So do you, I know you already said what you think about the game tomorrow, Stab. So we may get it. With me, I just think it's like a Chelsea. It's a Chelsea thing to come away with a victory. When I don't think we're going to win a game, that's when we usually win. When I feel that we are going to win a game and confident. When the fan base gets too confident, I'm not confident, because I say for me that's when we come unstuck, because I've seen it all before that people said, oh yeah, well, this is an easy 3 points for us or this whatever, and we easily lose. But when the fan base isn't confident, Chelsea usually tend to pull off something special. So I'm kind of like we've used that. I just don't know, what's going to happen. I put us down for a defeat, but if we win, I won't be too surprised at it. Because
Well, it's like you said, it's Chelsea way, innit?
It's Chelsea way, yeah.
Even back in the 70s, in cup games against Tottenham, Liverpool, we always raised it, didn't we? And give them a fair shock. I mean, to beat the European champions, Liverpool, and knock them out of the cup twice, that takes some doing. So this is Chelsea. It's all part of our history. So let's not see too much into Sunday's game that we're up against it. I think it's crucial that I don't know what the situation is with Silva, but you have him in the middle of that defence, and it's totally different thing. It's totally different. So, but we might have to use Sarr, because I've got no trust whatsoever in Alonso. And I would, if we're not going to sign anyone, just recall Maatsen, because he's already playing the same system for Coventry, and he's getting rave reviews. So bring him back, and it'll give Alonso a kick up the arse, because he's basically one of these players who goes into a comfort zone once he's played 3 or 4 games. He might be okay, and then he goes into a comfort zone and goes to sleep. So bringing someone to challenge him might wake him up again and go back to his early season form. But we live in hope. Anyway, thanks for having us on. I'll try and arrange that collab that we were talking about. I'll have a word with Coachella. And if you're going to do any more, let me know in advance.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Cheers,
I'll come.
guys. So
Because I only support a couple of the YouTube channels. Yours is one of them, and Coachella's another. And I quite like Lee as well. Although I was quite surprised at his response last night, because he can be quite reactionary as well. And when he's watching a game with the watch-along, he really lets go. So I was quite surprised that he was quite sensible last night, and he didn't jump into a knee-jerk bandwagon. Hey, I'll let you get on.
okay. Cheers, guys.
Thanks for having us on. Have a good one, Tyrone.
Yeah.
See you again.
You too. You too.
All right. See you later. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Bye. Bye.